Hi, everybody. It's me, Barb. You may remember me as being the facilitator of this course, even though I haven't shown up much in the grading arena. I do apologize. I appreciate your patience. My hope is to bang through most of it today. Fingers crossed. But I'm also putting up two videos today because as I'm looking at Module 5, it is just a lot of information. So I'm going to talk a little bit about timing. What I've decided to do is I'm putting up Module 5 today, and I'm also going to put up Module 6 today and put up the video for that because I want you've basically got 3 weeks because it's vacation week after next for those of you who are public school educators. And particularly the content here, you kind of need to be able to access a school for this. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But also, there's a awful lot of information here. And in module 6, it's very exploratory. There's 3 articles and they're, I think, a page each. There's almost no reading. It's very much like go out and play with stuff. So what I'm going to do is I changed the due date for module 5. You'll see that it is now due on March 4th, which is a long time from here. However, it's a lot, so don't put it all off. But I want you to be able to take vacation week and have a vacation if you want. So if you don't finish module 5, I've kept the even the discussion, which is, you know how I am about discussion, but there's a lot here and I want you to be able to access it. So try to, spread your time out between this week coming up and the week after vacation. But if you need to take the vacation, and God knows we all do, feel free. All right, so the timing is going to be different, and I'll mention this again in the Module 6 content, not to forget the Module 5 content. But just be aware that, and hopefully, if I get my ducks in a row, I'll grade things that have come in, but I won't look at the discussion for either of these modules until after the 4th. All right, so Module 5. Our topic for this is adaptive and assistive technology, which is providing resources for all students, including students who have special needs, and making that a priority because you want to make sure that everyone is able to have success. And the library can be a place where where kids feel super accepted, but it can also be a place where kids feel like they, are lagging behind. And so we want to make sure that the library is a welcoming place for all and that we're aware of what's going on. So caveat, you're not going to learn. Some people you might, already be well versed in this, and that's great. There's a little bit of exploratory stuff and you can spend a lot of time on this. So let's just go through what the different resources are. So the first up, I believe this is in no particular order. This is the UDL checklist. It's from Project Enable. What's Project Enable, you ask? We'll get to that one. But what this does is it looks at your library. Now, you do not have to do this. However, if you have your own library, I would highly suggest taking the time to do this now, just to see. It surprised me very much the first time I used this, and I do revisit it from time to time, just to see what you've got. So I would go through this if you have your own library, and it doesn't take a lot. It's just your observation of how your space is being used and can be used and is being used. So definitely, if you have your own library, take the time to do this. All right. Then this is it's 2005. It's a little old. Most of the tech things in here, I'm sure that there are other tools that do the job much better. But this is a assistive technology continuum of low to high tech tools. But what I love about this is some of the low tech stuff: binders, rubber bands, koosh balls. Like, they're things that everybody has a koosh ball anymore, I guess, but they're things that you find everywhere. But this shows how they can be used to help kids who, need more assistance. Then we've got CAST. CAST pretty much invented UDL. I don't know if they invented it. They claim that they've invented it, but they definitely have had a huge impact on UDL, which is Universal Design for Learning, which is one of those, you know, a strong tide lifts all boats kind of thing. When you design your work so that everyone can succeed, everyone has the possibility of succeeding. So you can just look around here. There's you know, UDL is a lot more common than it was. I think a lot of schools have embraced it. But you can look around the website and see what they have here. Then we've got some articles. We've got Hopkins. And again, this is from 2004. So if you don't know, if you're like, what is adaptive and assistive technology? Give this a read. It breaks it down really neatly. If you are aware that the other stuff is clearing it up for you, this one's pretty much not necessary. I just leave it because I love this one, 10 assistive technology things to know. And these are, and again, she looks at, you know, specific tools here, but what really you want to look at is her big assistive technology enhances information accessibility for all users. Online resources are available. And again, we're not looking at the specific things, you're looking at the overarching statement. The implementation doesn't have to cost a lot. You know, these are really sensible. It's kind of like your 10 things every educator should know. You know, there's sensible overviews. And then even though the underpinnings, what I call those underpinnings, the little things after the initial blurb, after the headline, you know, those may have changed, those may have evolved, but you know, these remain solid. So I would like you to take a look at those. And I don't think it's not a specific, again, it's not a specific assignment that you need to do this, but a good assignment would be to look at these and then, you know, write your own experience. It's a nice sort of system for your blog if you want to have a, you know, something in there to do. So there's that. Then Project Enable. Okay, this is ridiculous. It's a 20-hour course from Syracuse University. And it has been, I think they made it maybe 2011, but they do update it. What are they saying for? Oh, they don't even have a year. All right. I believe, yeah, the last thing that they've offered in here is 2020. So, you know, it's been a while. I think it was 2011. I could be wrong. It may say in About Us. You can investigate that. Somebody can put it in the discussion. But it's a phenomenal program, and it's mostly for it's public library based. Certainly, you know, public library themed, but there's a lot here. I took a lot of this. I teach a professional development in providing resources for students with special needs, and I took Project Enable and distilled it and turned it into this other thing, which they're fine with as long as you're citing them. It's really good. I believe you need to log in to access. It's worth it. Just do the login. You don't have to go through the whole program, but there are a lot of really great resources, a lot of really great steps and things like that that never would have occurred to me beforehand. So I highly recommend going into Project Enable. Then this is QIAT, which I'm sure they must say is quiet, but I don't want to 100% put that out there. It is Quality Indicators for Assistive Technology Services. So it's you know, it's a group of people. I think there's people in academia, probably, oh, I'm in the wrong section. People whose kids, you know, are looking for things like this. Anyway, go back, I say. So the main, yes, here's the homepage. This talks about what they are, nationwide grassroots organization, but they have really good resources, and the indicators and matrices section right here, there's just a lot of different things that you can look at. They've got their indicators, and they've got matrices that show that, you know, the rubrics of what is what. That would be definitely worth looking at. And then finally, it wouldn't be one of my modules without something from School Library Journal. So Wohan, who I think she's going to come up in another, she wrote on something else too, but it's everyone's welcome. Oh, it's a 2-page spread. I bet it says everyone's invited. There we go. This is how to make your library more welcoming to students with special needs. And it's, you know, a lot of slosh over with Hopkins, but it's really important. It's really important that we have the library be a welcoming place. So I think it's worth reading. All right. So those are the resources. So many resources. All right. And then for your projects, oh, Look at the 10 ideas, discuss your finding in the discussion board. I seem to, okay. So yes, you're gonna go to this here. Let's open that bad boy up. All right, so you've got your discussion. Your discussion is gonna be whatever you want. If you're in a district and you find out horrible stuff about your district's adaptive and assistive policies, some people, find that it's really not where it should be. And if you are uncomfortable talking about that in the discussion, I think it would be valuable. If you are, nobody's going to see this. It's password protective, but let's just have that cone of safety. Cone of silence. I don't know. But what you see on the board stays on the boards in this particular instance. So you're going to talk about what you find out. You're going to talk about what you've explored. There's plenty to explore to go around. Whoopsie doodles. Let's go back here. So the main assignment is to investigate your district to determine who is in charge of adaptive and assistive technology. If you can talk to this person, that's great. If you can schedule an interview, they're busy. They might not be able to, but you're a librarian in the district and you want to, and if you say to them, I want to make sure that or a teacher in the district, if you're teaching, whatever, if you're employed by a school district, you have every right to know, and they should be able to give you a few minutes. Now, if you're a community member and you don't have a child who needs services, you can say, I'm asking for a friend, but you can also just say, hey, I'm a grad student and we're looking at this. What you do is so important. Could I have 10 minutes to talk to you and see? So if that works, great. If you can't, you can't, but just write, what you found. There's no, word count for this. You don't have to cite sources other than letting me know who the person is, just because it's interesting. I want to say 2 years ago when I taught this, I had 3 students who were all from Arlington Public Schools. I think one was a resident and 2 were in the district. And the Arlington Public Schools adaptive and assistive woman was phenomenal because she got the emails like all at the same time, or the calls. And so she's like, hey, let's set up a Zoom call. And she walked them through everything. And I've always thought, like, I'd like to have her come in as a guest speaker, but we don't really, have a time when people could come in. Like, being able to ask questions, though, was the valuable thing of it. She was just great. So hopefully you'll have an experience akin to that, but you might have a horrible experience that we can all learn by. So who's to say? Write it down there. And you can, honestly, if it's positive, absolutely put it in your blog. If it's negative, I wouldn't put it in your blog, because you never know if, that's going to come back and bite you in the butt someday if you're putting your district's name out there with something like this. But I want to know, I want to be in your adaptive and assistive business. So that's your big assignment, is to identify the stakeholders, find out who the person is, talk to them what you can, write up what you find. That's your investigation. Then in the blog, if you want to go over to Hopkins and look at those 10 things and, just put them in there, and then your own opinions based on that, that would be great. You don't have to. It's structure. That was the word I was trying to think of. And then the discussion. You guys are doing great at the discussion. I have no notes on the discussion. It's wonderful. All right, so that is what I've got for this block. Remember this module. I'm going to give you that other week to get things done, because also maybe you do your investigation, this week coming up, but you don't have a chance to talk to the person until after vacation, because honestly, everybody's like, oh yeah, I can do that after vacation. After vacation is when everything just knocks you in your head. All right, so I think that's everything I have. Thank you so much for the work you've been doing. Thank you so much for your patience with getting your grades. I mean, a couple people have emailed with specific questions, and that's fine. If you need a specific answer, I am checking the Canvas email and the discussion daily. It is just, anyway, so I appreciate your patience. And as a reward, I'm not going to make my head gigantic. I'm going to just stop the recording with tiny headed Barb in the corner. But I'll be back in 2 minutes with your module 6 content on the other page. But I'll take off my house blankie so it looks like a whole new day. All right. Have a great week. Have a great weeks, and have a great vacation. I demand it. All right. Bye.